My name is Ingi. I am from Leeds. I am non-binary. I use they them pronouns. And this is a Bossas pack. International Non-Binary Day is coming up on the 14th of July 2020, and there has been a call out for video submissions to highlight and engage with the non-binary community. So I have made this video to reach out to that community. I am black. I am black and non-binary, and those intersections of my life come into play with everything that I do. I think that this speaks to many people, because if you exist at one of those intersections, be it race, ability, your body, your lifestyle, your religion, your culture, who you are as a person, you understand a different way of living life. I want to speak to those people, I want to inspire those people to do something good and to gain a wider perspective of the worlds around them and other ways of being, such as the non-binary specifically because International Non-Binary Day is coming up. I think that for me, a big part of being queer and black is that I spend a lot of time in queer spaces with white queer people experiencing my blackness and them trying to or not trying to engage with that blackness. And when I'm in black spaces, I spend less time focusing on my queer experience, because I've always experienced my black experience, but my queer experience very much became a part of my social life and something that I chose to engage with and chose to not engage with. I want to focus some of my energy on my black community to engage with people like me, because my trans narrative won't improve unless I know how to exist in my black spaces as a trans person, as a non-binary person, as a queer person. You get such colourful ideas from people when you can see the two pools that they exist in and how it intersects. Like, that space in the middle is a creation of something new. It's the vesicle Pisces, you know? It's that experience that you can find in other people, and it highlights something really cool. So what does it mean to me to be a non-binary person? I exist in an intersection of gender. We live in a world that is binary, where there are men and there are women, and when you're born you have a doctor prescribe you a gender. They give you male or female and they write it on your birth certificate, and that's you for most people the rest of their lives. They're good. For some people that doesn't work out and they have to move around within those two things and find something that fits them, because nobody really exists at the extremes of either gender. Nobody really exists at the extremes of prescribed gender, especially because it's an experience that each of us have as individuals. So I feel like for me, I exist outside of the binary. I don't even conform to gender. I often identify as a gender non-conforming person, because gender in general doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for somebody like me. I think that when I was born, I was given something and I was told to grow up like that, and I tried it and it was alright, and it eventually became not alright. It eventually became something that became difficult, it became hard, it became confusing, and I spent a lot of time fighting myself trying to figure that out. So coming to the realization of my gender at a young age and my blackness has always been my span. I think that compassion comes, and the want to learn comes, and the want to educate people comes, because I want to exist and I want people like me to exist, and I want to be able to bring forth people who exist. But it's very difficult. It causes a lot of stress, it causes a lot of anger. I'm angry a lot because of it. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to try. It doesn't mean that I don't want to do stuff. I think that there are people who want to do stuff, and when you want to do stuff but you don't know where to put it, it's nice to know that there's a community out there that can take a bit of time to educate themselves, to research on this stuff, to spend a bit of time doing a little bit of hard work to make it a little bit easier for people like me to come into spaces and to exist and to be happy and to be safe. When approaching something like our queer experience, we all know that no one person has the same experience. It's the same that applies when you approach somebody who is a black person, or a person of colour, or of any specific space, that they are the only person who can speak on their individual experience. They do not represent any group of people. We are our own people, and if you want to find a greater understanding of people who share our experience, the best way for someone to gain real data is to find something quantitative. You have to speak to many people, you have to speak to everyone, you have to speak to all of the numerous people that you know and find out their understandings of it. Don't speak to two people and hear two people say that this one space is good or this one thing is good, and they're the speak of everyone. Oh, well, I have this one person, I have this one trans friend, I have this one non-binary friend who uses they, them pronouns, ergo all non-binary people use they, them pronouns. That is not true. That is not how it works. That is not the world that we live in. We live in a world of many different experiences that are all feeding into the oneness. What you will then realise by taking in quantitative data, by figuring out, by speaking to lots of people, them resonances are the same. You will hear things happening again and again and again and again, and you'll start to build a picture in your head of what is a true experience for so many people, what really matters to so many people, why it matters to them, and what you can do to help. I think that losing sight of what we can do to help is often off-putting. Spaces that exist, promote them to people, give them to non-binary people, give them to queer people of colour, give them to groups that you want to engage with. Like, if you have resources that you've got to spare, use them for good, because they will help you build, they will help you make new.
It's not good to be comfortable.
Yeah, that idea of not uncomfortable, like you've gone somewhere and your accessibility needs aren't met, but uncomfortable that you're challenging structures that you know inherently aren't right. I think I spend a lot of time doing that, and not all black people are willing to do that, not all queer people are willing to do that. But if you spend a lot of time having to do that without choice, without engaging with it, I think it's a privilege to not have to, and to choose to not have to. It's nice to be in a space where people want to, because they know that it's inherently going to better themselves and better their communities. So learning about things that exist around you is a good way to engage with that. I think that community projects, like I was saying about space and redirecting money and funding and energy to places. We have services that are put in place to protect and look after and serve our communities, and I feel very much like I do that work myself. I feel very much like that work exists in our communities already and that it's happening anyway, and I wish that we had funding to do that. I think that if people really understand the needs of individual people in communities and what the communities need to build and grow, they would recognise the need to defund spaces like the police, to defund places like G4S, to take away money from places that lock up and harbour and destroy the lives of people of colour, of people from other places, people who are seeking help, people who want to be saved from a system that doesn't really work to save them. We can recognise that how to keep our communities safe. How many young people's services have I seen disappear, and then they wonder why young people have bad mental health or are struggling or can't cope with things like lockdown and COVID and school changing and everything happening to them. Nothing's been spoken about for them, with them. The empowerment of people in general on all scales is so separated, and I'd like to build bridge between that. I want to build bridges. We should talk to each other. It's good. It's good. It's good. I would like to ask allies and others not able to understand but able to respect and acknowledge the effort and energy required of the people that suffer at the hands of oppression. This is across all scales. Labour in the form of care and education is not free, and POC people, especially black trans people, have been seeking these injustices and requirements for our safety for a long time. It's long overdue, and their time must not be for free. We should be doing better to make it right. There are a number of organisations and links that I can post along with this video, to groups, to organisations, to funds that support people that I think need to be supported, me included. Many people need support. So shout out to all those, you know who you are. Yes, we have to do the work. Empower yourselves, educate yourselves, look for some good stuff. The internet is there, it's like really there, it's like so about. I have it in this park right here, I've got internet, wild, you can use it, it's good. But yes, blessings, Ashe.